So one of the most common questions I get from new nutrition coaches, oh man, I didn't realize how my eyes today got a little bit of that. We'll talk about that in a second. But one of the most common questions from new nutrition coaches that I get is there's so many apps there that I could use for my coaching or suggest to my clients, and I have no idea like where to start, like what to use. It takes a lot of tinkering and playing around to see what's what and what I should be using. What should I use? So today, I want to dive into all the options out there and break them down. If you're tuning in today, I'd love to hear where you're from and if you use any tracking apps, productivity apps, anything you suggest to your clients, that type of stuff. Because I'm going to dive into a list and some suggestions, some pros and cons today. But I'd love to hear from you guys too. So fill me in on what you're using, and we'll go from there. I think if I view everything that's out there, is that number one, there's things that we can be using as coaches, be it that make it easier to coach our clients and keep us organized and streamlined. There's also things that we can suggest to our clients that allow them to reach their goals more effectively and be insightful. There's things on the nutrition tracking and planning front that we both can be using. There are things that from the training perspective and the coaching perspective that we can use to deliver our coaching and allow our clients to access our stuff. So those are the two main categories there. It's like tracking and planning of actual nutrition, delivering the coaching. And then from a coaching perspective, like what are some of the things that I can use to make my job easier in terms of productivity, social media, like content creation, keeping everything organized, all that stuff. We'll dive all into that today. But before we do, you guys got to let me know if there's anything you're specifically using, anything that's blowing your mind, that type of stuff, and we'll go from there. Cool. Before we dive into, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, a lot of stuff behind the scenes, very exciting stuff in the Dr. Mark method right now. We almost like are very close to getting final proofs of our book, From Passion to Profit, 300-page manual, all on nutrition coaching. Like the way we structured it too is that like most nutrition coaching books there's not tons of them. They're mainly nutrition related, not nutrition coaching. Like how do I take this information and apply it to coaching? But they usually start with the science of nutrition, and we include that. But we start with like how do we create coaching systems? How do we get clients? How do we do all that stuff? Because a lot of times, based on my experience working with you guys, is that we can put the cart before the horse here in a lot of that stuff. We can actually get to the place where we don't have a business because we can't attract people, we can't coach them, we don't know how to coach them, that kind of stuff. So we swapped everything, and it's going to be really instructional, how to. You'll get clients reading it. You'll be able to coach clients more effectively and confidently through this book. So I'm excited to be able to release that. That'll be done in about a month, as well as I know so many of you would love to be nutrition coaching, but you're really not sure how to get this started. Be it you have an intro certification, you have like a basic cert, you learned a lot, but you don't really know like what do I do next? Like, I'm not sure how to apply this stuff, or you're just like you'd love to help people, you just don't know the first step. We created a challenge to be able to solve this problem, give you everything you need, the templates, the coaching process, like how to approach coaching, all that stuff in a 3-day challenge. It's going to be ready in the next week. If you want any of those things, either of those things, drop an emoji in the comments, and I'll make note of who you are, and we'll chat about getting that over to you once it's ready. I'm really, really pumped about that. Before we go any further and talk about any the apps today, the tech tools, all the things you should be using, I'm just going to make sure that I'm live and rolling here. Would be my first thing. And then I'll tell you also about eye stuff. I currently have pink eye, I guess, is what we're going with. I can't hide it. I do have it. I didn't think it was going to be as bad on camera as I thought. I stayed away from doing a YouTube recording today because I was like, I can't do that. That lives forever, although this will as well. But I got it, and it's not the most fun, but I'm pushing through because I got to show up for you guys, and I really pride myself on not taking care of myself and that kind of thing, but also not taking sick days, because who's got time for that? Okay, I'm going to my channel here. Any tools you guys go on? Anyone want to hit a like for my dedication of doing a live video every week? If you guys are proud of me, I'll take the words of appreciation. If not, that's cool too. I do appear to be live. If you're out there, fill me in. I just wanted as I can, but it looks like we're good to go. As you guys are listening to this, is there any I appreciate the like. I do that is helpful for me to keep me pushing ahead. Is there any apps that you're currently using, anything that you're getting clients to track on, that type of stuff? When we think about that first category here in terms of uh, nutrition tracking apps and planning apps, these are typically apps that are, thanks, Shobana. I appreciate it. I feel fine. I just know that my eyes are a little bit like, whatever. Give me a tough time, but I'm going to push through. I'm going to do it. It's all good. Are any tracking apps you guys are specifically using and kind of going from there? We have like the apps that, number one, as coaches, it's nice to be familiar with them, even if we aren't currently tracking our own nutrition, but it's always a good idea to do that and be objective about things, especially if you have changing goals, specific goals, jumping back into things, that type of stuff. Right now, one tracking app that I'm super pumped on is Macros First, in terms of a tracking app for myself and clients. Tons of good coaching features and that kind of stuff. Hey, Andy, thanks for tuning in from California. Unless California is a tracking app. I don't think it is, or a nutrition app. But thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the support. Macros First is one app we're really enjoying right now. Tons of good coaching features, and it syncs with a lot of different coaching softwares. Chronometer is another one from a micronutrient perspective that's, pretty well regarded and well used. MyFitnessPal was pretty much the OG tracking app in the space. They kind of went a little too corporate and took some features away, got a little money hungry. People aren't enjoying it as much, but definitely easy to use and kind of go from there would be some of the biggest players. I think from as an individual tracking your nutrition, people are having tons of success with Macro Factor. Again, you're hearing the word macro a lot. A lot of times the emphasis in a lot of these tracking apps are tracking macronutrients and logging our food and being able to pull the macronutrient information from it to allow us to carefully track the big picture variables that will allow us to get results. You know what I mean? So a lot of those are, macronutrient focused. Macro Factor specifically, as well as the Carbon Diet Coach from Lane Norton. They have some self-guided features, making adjustments to your nutrition for you as you progress, that type of stuff. So there's a bunch of different apps out there, and quite a few of them have different kind of spins and focuses. Sometimes it takes a little bit of playing around and thinking about, like, what do I value? What kind of coach do I want to be? How I want to show up, so you can get kind of the best tracking app for you, as well as the one that you suggest to your clients. In terms of meal planning and stuff too, we have things like Eat This Much, a good app to be able to take someone's food levels and turn it into actual meal suggestions and create a meal plan from it. Really good for inspiration, even if someone's not following it specifically. That type of stuff. We've highlighted so many tracking apps on the channel, and if you haven't checked out any of those tracking apps, I'll link it up here. Here are some of the best MyFitnessPal alternatives. Let me pull that one up first. Some of the best tracking app alternatives. This is a video that was published in September of this year. Has a lot of the usual suspects, but a lot of good information there as well. So check out that one for sure, because I think you'll get a lot of information from that. That's tons of different tracking apps and kind of going from there. Now, if you're thinking about, as a coach, like, how do I deliver my coaching and not just get like pulling information and that type of stuff, various coaching platforms that can be really, really powerful. One that comes to mind, we just did a review on it, is Coach Catalyst. A lot of times I was talking to a coach in our program yesterday, and they're thinking, well, like, what do I need here? Do I need a coaching platform? Do I need the tracking app, what's the first step? And a lot of times you want to make sure that your client's logging their food in a way that allows you to pull the objective information quick. So getting a tracking app is important, but maybe you want to, we teach everything in terms of like bootstrapping the coaching process with tracking sheets and check-in forms and that kind of stuff. But there's coaching apps that do this for you. They can be, typically they'll charge you per client or some sort of monthly fee or anything like that. So they can be used. And if you're at the point where you're like, hey, how do I optimize this? How do I make it a bit more streamlined? Something like Coach Catalyst is, super allows you to like customize things, that type of stuff. They have some, one of their big focuses is on the education component as well. So being able to deliver different like lessons and habit-based stuff with reminders can be super helpful. So that's one of those as well. From the training front, Trainerize has been something that's been around for a while, something that you could look into as well. We're doing some research right now on an app called LogEat. That's very, very promising, especially from the nutrition focused and some of their coaching features. So there's tons of options out there. I personally like to get in the groove around like, well, can I do some of this stuff a bit more scrappy with Google Forms and Google Sheets to get a sense of like how I want to coach before thinking about technology and kind of going from there. If you haven't ever checked out my tracking sheets or anything like that, by all means, like fill me in on the comments and I'll make sure I get them over to you. But there's some technology that does a really good job of this and making it more streamlined and, straight ahead. Now, those are more or less like how to deliver your coaching and how to get your clients like tracking on certain things. But if you're looking to grow your business and keep your business organized, there are so many tools out there to be able to do that. I remember way back in the day, I used to use like PowerPoint to edit images, to save them, to post them on my social media. Like you don't need to do that anymore with things that are like Canva, where you can keep all your your brand colors and templates and fonts and tons of inspiration and different ways of like, dressing it all up all in one place. We also actually just released a 30-day free content calendar to give you some inspiration on what to post for your business, but there's tons out there. Video, if you're hearing any of these things and I mentioned something where it's like, we got this thing, you should check it out. Let me know, reach out to me. You can send me an email at mark@drmarkmethod.com. There's a C in all those marks, MARC at drmarkmethod.com. Send me an email or drop something in the comments here. And if you're watching the replay, like drop it in the actual comments and I'll make sure I get these resources over to you. Completely free stuff to get you started. And I know there's so much out there. So I'm hoping that someone pointing you in the right direction around the best things to use can be helpful. But let me know. From the video front, I think when we first started this stuff, like to create videos and stuff, you're thinking like, I don't know how to do this. I need to hire an editor. There's so much. Please write your email. Yeah, totally. Without a doubt. Here it is, Edis. If you got a question or something you want from me, send me an email right there. marc@drmarkmethod.com. Send it over and we'll connect. But from the video front, 2 video editing apps that we use all the time, we absolutely love. The first one being CapCut. Super easy to use, straightforward. There's both mobile and desktop versions to get you editing stuff. I know so many of us take videos on our actual phone, so it's nice to have a mobile version of that type of stuff. Use templates, use similar things so you can keep brand fonts and all that stuff. That one's super easy to use, as well as from an educational perspective. My cute kids are on there. Love them. They're the ones that gave me pink eye though. Capwing, or I believe they call it Kapwing. I'm going to keep calling it Capwing. Kapwing is the name of that one. Really cool feature within that video editing app. It has the silence remover. So you can take your phone and what you're going to say and be like, the number one thing holding back most people from losing 10 pounds before summer is going to be their protein intake. Today, I'm going to show you 2 ways to boost your protein so you can be lean and mean come June 1st. Here's what you need to do. Number 1, think about what you're going to say or look over at a script, go back to it, and then it removes all the actual silence. So you don't have to edit it that way. Super easy to use. If you guys are thinking about like how do I how do these people remember all these things? No, they do stuff like that. And that's how they show up and do it. Email-based marketing and stuff. I personally use an email-based market service called ConvertKit. Super simple to create landing pages and all that stuff. If you're thinking about more educational focused stuff, how do I deliver educational modules, like website, that type of stuff? Everything that we do in the Dr. Mark Method is through Kajabi, which is probably, I personally believe, there's a lot of new ones coming out and stuff, but the best, most established like content delivery, education delivery, coaching platform out there for those type of things, especially something like if you need a website, some landing pages, how to deliver a course and all that stuff. That's one of the best ones out there. Are you guys listening to this stuff and thinking like, what did I miss? Is there something that you use in your coaching each and every day? A tech tool that's helpful? Today, we went over some nutrition tracking and planning apps, Macros First, Chronometer, Macro Factor, MyFitnessPal being longstanding, things like Eat This Much for meal planning. Those are things that both, coaches and their clients are going to be using. We also went over some coaching platforms to actually deliver the coaching. Some of these coaching platforms sync up with the tracking apps. Some of them have their own tracking within it for both the client and the coach to look at. Remember, like there's going to be the two different versions of it sometimes. We talked about Coach Catalyst, Logeet, Trainerize. We also talked about different tech tools to run your business, right? Through creating social media content, through creating video content, Capwing, CapCut, obviously different AI-based things. We got the book that we're getting at. There's some AI images that we use different prompts for with ChatGPT and DALL-E 2 that have come up really, really nice. There's tons of stuff you can be doing nowadays with technology. It can be confusing though, in terms of like, where do you get started? So I hope today was helpful to give you some direction around like, where do I take this stuff? Everything I listed today, I use each and every day. It makes my life a lot easier. There are ways of getting around it. When I first really started getting into nutrition and focusing on what I needed to eat, I tracked everything I ate in a spreadsheet each and every day. I'd pull the nutrition information. If it was a relatively new food that I hadn't ate before, I'd seek it out. I'd log it under, a meal. I'd add everything out up throughout the day. I'd look how it would compare to what I needed to be doing. Then I realized, there's apps that do this for you, right? There's only one app that did it for you at that time. This was like 2011. And even then, that was like, there's a huge difference because the only way you could like actually log and pull nutrition information was through like university-based tools that typically like nutrition professionals that would be using to assess your diet through food records and that kind of stuff. These apps, they changed everything in terms of being able to log and put things forward. Those are the three main categories. If you guys have any questions about those apps or what you should be using, or you're thinking like, where do I start? Let me know in the comments, in the chat, and we'll go from there. If you're watching the replay, same thing. Let me know, and I would be happy to pass along what I know. If you wanted to chat a little bit more like Edis did, by all means, send me an email, and we'll go from there. If not, I'm going to go take care of myself here. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'm glad I've kept my streak of doing a live video each and every week alive. They haven't all been on YouTube. They've also been on my Instagram as well, kind of alternate a little bit. If you don't currently follow me on Instagram, by all means can go pop over there. There's my channel. Check it out, or my handle. Outside of that, thanks for tuning in today, guys. Take care and start putting these tools into practice. Play around. It'll make your life a lot easier. Take care, guys.